Royal dresses are never just fabric. They are symbols, stitched with dynasties, diplomacy, and private dreams. Some dazzle in pearls and lace, others whisper in satin simplicity. But each has one thing in common. They are remembered not only for how they looked, but for what they meant. Today, we step into a curated gallery of 13 of the most beautiful dresses ever worn by European royals, each one a story in silk. Diana, Princess of Wales, July 29th, 1981. Few gowns have burned themselves into collective memory quite like Diana's wedding dress. Designed by David and Elizabeth Emanuel, it was a frothy masterpiece of ivory silk taffeta and antique lace, festooned with sequins and more than 10,000 pearls. But it was the train, stretching a record-breaking 25 feet, that became its legend, unfurling down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral like a fabric river. Behind the spectacle lay symbolism. For a shy 20-year-old bride, the gown's extravagance became both armor and burden, embodying the fairy tale promise the world demanded of her. Wrinkled from the carriage ride, heavy to wear, but unforgettable, it was a dress that captured both the triumph and the weight of Diana's destiny. Catherine, Princess of Wales, April 29th, 2011. Where Diana's gown shouted, Catherine's whispered. Her wedding dress, created by Sarah Burton for Alexander McQueen, was a study in controlled elegance. The bodice was crafted with delicate hand-cut lace applique using the Carrick-Macross technique, nodding to British craftsmanship. Long lace sleeves framed the fitted silhouette, while the skirt opened into soft pleats and a train of nearly 9 feet. The dress balanced modernity with history, an heir to Diana's public image, but on her own terms. Paired with a Cartier halo tiara, a modest jewel never worn by Queen Elizabeth II herself, Catherine's look struck the perfect chord. Youthful, dignified, and quietly iconic. Grace Kelly, Princess of Monaco, April 19th, 1956. Before Diana, before Catherine, there was Grace. Her gown, designed by MGM's Helen Rose, was a gift from Hollywood to royalty. Made of silk taffeta, silk net, and antique Brussels lace, the dress was structured yet romantic. The high lace neckline framed her face like porcelain, while the Juliet cap veil lent a softness that contrasted with her regal poise. This wasn't merely a dress, it was the blueprint of the royal bride. When Grace entered Monaco's St. Nicholas Cathedral, she redefined bridal fashion for decades to come. Its influence still echoes today. Princess Charlene of Monaco, July 2nd, 2011. Where Grace Kelly's gown was ornate, Charlene's was minimalist. Created by Giorgio Armani Privé, the Ivory Duchess satin dress featured a sleek, off-the-shoulder neckline and a slim silhouette. At first glance, it looked almost austere, but as Charlene moved, the details revealed themselves. A 5-meter train embroidered with delicate floral motifs and adorned with thousands of Swarovski crystals. It was modern Monaco, refined, sculptural, statuesque. Charlene, an Olympic swimmer, looked powerful and serene, a dress less about fantasy and more about quiet strength. Queen Letizia of Spain, May 22, 2004. Manuel Pertegaz designed a gown that was both austere and majestic. Crafted in natural silk, it featured a dramatic high-standing collar and long sleeves. The true marvel lay in the embroidery. Gold and silver thread depicting wheat, clovers, and heraldic symbols of Spain. The train stretched nearly 15 feet, its length a metaphor for the weight of history she was stepping into. For a commoner turned queen, the gown declared both tradition and individuality, regal, architectural, unforgettable. Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, February 2, 2002. Maxima's Valentino gown was a portrait of radiant sophistication. Cut from ivory Mikado silk, the gown featured a cowl neckline and 3/4 sleeves with a 5-meter lace-edged train cascading behind her. What made the ensemble extraordinary was the tiara. The the Dutch star tiara, sparkling with diamond stars originally belonging to Queen Emma. Maxima, born in Argentina, entered Amsterdam's Nieuwe Kerk not only as a bride, but as a symbol of a new inclusive Dutch monarchy. Her gown, with its celestial tiara, reflected both her individuality and her new role. Queen Matilda of the Belgians, December 4, 1999. Belgium's own Air Vermeulen of Nataan designed Matilda's ivory satin gown. Unlike the grandeur of her peers, the gown relied on clean architectural lines. A fitted bodice, long sleeves, and a gently flared skirt framed her natural poise. Matilda's dress marked a quiet milestone. She was the first Belgian-born queen consort in the country's history, understated pride stitched in silk. Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden, June 19, 2010. Per Eng-Shaden created a gown that was both Scandinavian in its simplicity and regal in its proportions. The pearl-white Duchess satin dress featured an off-the-shoulder neckline, short sleeves, and a detachable train of 5 meters, about 16 feet. Her historic cameo tiara, worn by her mother and grandmother before her, completed the ensemble. Victoria walked down the aisle of Stockholm Cathedral, not just as a bride, but as a crown princess marrying a commoner. The gown symbolized continuity with Sweden's royal past while embracing a new modern chapter. Queen Sylvia of Sweden, June 19, 1976. Decades before her daughter's wedding, Sylvia Sommerlath wore a gown by Marc Bohan for Christian Dior. With a rounded neckline and clean, flowing lines, it embodied 70s chic. She paired it with the same cameo tiara Victoria would later wear, creating a thread of continuity through generations. Walking down the aisle to ABBA performing Dancing Queen, Sylvia redefined what it meant to be a modern queen consort. Queen Mary of Denmark, May 14, 2004. Designed by Uffe Frank, Mary Donaldson's gown was a love letter to both heritage and new beginnings. The ivory Duchess satin dress featured a scoop neckline, long fitted sleeves, and a sweeping train of nearly 19 feet. The veil carried history. It had been first worn in 1905 by Crown Princess Margareta of Sweden, tying Mary to her new Scandinavian family. Mary's Australian roots made her a fresh figure in Denmark's monarchy, and her gown reflected that blend of tradition and modern love. Princess Eugenie of York, October 12, 2018. Peter Pilotto and Christopher de Vos designed a dress that was elegant but deeply personal, with a wide V neckline at the front and back, long sleeves, and a full pleated skirt. It carried royal gravitas. But its most remarkable feature was the open back, designed to reveal the scar from Eugenie's scoliosis surgery. Woven into the jacquard fabric were thistles, shamrocks, and roses, symbols of her heritage. Eschewing a veil, Eugenie instead wore the Greve-Il emerald kokoshnik tiara, tradition blended with vulnerability. Hereditary Grand Duchess Stephanie of Luxembourg, October 20, 2012. Elisab crafted a gown worthy of Luxembourg's future queen. The ivory lace creation shimmered with silver thread, embroidered with crystals and pearls. 3/4 sleeves balanced a dramatic 12-foot train, and a silk tulle veil completed the ensemble. Stephanie wore the Lannoy family tiara, honoring her Belgian roots. The gown was not only stunning but symbolic, a merging of families, countries, and traditions. Queen Elizabeth II, November 20, 1947. Norman Hartnell's gown for Princess Elizabeth was more than a wedding dress. It was a national symbol. Made of Duchesse satin, it was embroidered with floral motifs inspired by Botticelli's Primavera and adorned with 10,000 seed pearls. Its 15-foot train was dramatic, but its true significance lay in its context. Britain was still under rationing, and Elizabeth famously saved clothing coupons to pay for her gown. It was more than pearls and satin. It was the dress that carried a nation into a new era of hope. From Diana's fairy tale avalanche of silk, to Catherine's architectural grace, to Eugenie's vulnerable bravery, these dresses remind us that beauty in royalty is never just surface. Each gown tells a story of love, tradition, politics, or quiet defiance. In monarchy, a dress is not just worn, it is performed, remembered, and sometimes immortalized. The most beautiful royal gowns are not only those that sparkle, but those that speak.